What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex here, and you're watching the Ragin Ronin review. I got a review for you. I watched Hell or High Water. This is a drama directed by David Mackenzie, starring Chris Pine and Ben Foster, and also Jeff Bridges. And this is a film that came out of nowhere for me. I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, meh. But then I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score. It was at 100%. It's down to 98% now, but it was at 100%. And that means that every single one of the critics that watched it loved it, or at least they enjoyed it. And it was one of those rare instances where Rotten Tomatoes actually persuaded me to watch a movie that I knew nothing about. I knew nothing about this film. It just came out of nowhere for me. And it was a film with an original story, something that's very rare from Hollywood these days. All the films that we've been watching or anticipating this year, particularly this year, are all based off of something. A sequel, reboot, remake, prequel, novel adaptation, comic book movie. You know what I'm saying? This is an original story. That's something we don't get a whole lot of these days. And that, along with the Rotten Tomatoes score, made me want to watch this film. Now, when I first saw the trailer, I was thinking, hey, this kind of reminds me of No Country for Old Men, directed by the Coen brothers. I really enjoyed this film. So I'm thinking, if this film is anywhere near as good as that film, then I'm going to like this film. And let me tell you something, this film is outstanding. Hell or High Water is a very, very great film. First of all, I want to talk about the characters in this film. You got Chris Pine and Ben Foster. They play these brothers who are out there robbing banks, okay? And they do a great job with the acting. Chris Pine, always a delight to watch. But Ben Foster, let me tell you something. Ben Foster, even though he's played these types of loose cannon, crazy character roles, he's just so good at it. He is good at playing this role. And it's such a great dynamic. They have such a great chemistry together because they're polar opposites. Their personalities, even though they're brothers, really don't match, but at the end of the day, they're brothers, and it really shows that in the film. And then you have Jeff Bridges, who plays the sheriff who's out there to take them down, and I won't be surprised if he gets a nomination for Best Actor, because he does an outstanding job in this film. He is so much fun to watch, and he plays this role with such authenticity. And by authenticity, I mean a Texas sheriff ranger. And this film takes place in the small towns of Texas. And I can't remember which small towns to be specific, but it takes place in a small town, or rather small towns in Texas. And the story is really about these brothers who are robbing banks, and the sheriff is out there to take them down. Sounds pretty simple. We've seen all kinds of bank robbery films before, and a lot of these films that have bank robberies in them are a lot more elaborate, a lot more complex, and a lot more exciting, involve a lot of gunfights and all that stuff. What makes this film great and makes this film different from all the other ones is they keep it simple. Keeping it simple is actually one of the most effective ways to tell a story, because you take that simple concept, something as simple as bank robberies and having a sheriff take them down, you take that simple concept and you put a complex spin on it. And I love that. And I gotta say that what they did was create a Western that takes place in modern day with a very, very profound story. And keyword being profound story. It's a modern, profound story. And I can't give anything away because there are some surprises in this film that really make this film great because of those things. And I gotta tell you something. Acting was great. Characters were really well written. Story was, full of surprises. Great direction, by the way. I love the direction in this film. Like I said, simple, simplistic, and also making the Texas, the locations, the small towns, they play a character in this movie. And I have a feeling that David Mackenzie, the director, he really wanted to use the setting as a character, because once you go into these small towns, it's got a bit of a quirkiness about it. The characters, I'm talking about like the background characters, they actually provide a bit of humor because of the fact that they're in small towns. They don't get exposed to a lot of people, like us city folk, and because of that, they're a little bit odd, and he uses those quirks as humor. So I love that a little bit of, that direction. I love that direction for this film. It's actually kind of like maybe it's inspired by the Coen brothers in No Country for Old Men, but it's displayed a lot, and it really shows you that this setting really has a lot of character to it, and yeah, just really great direction, and also the action is intense. There's, you know, the bank robbery action, the gunfights, all very, very exciting. And, you know, it's not just gunfights for the sake of having gunfights. These gunfights have a really, really effective build-up to it. Just because these characters, you know, they're running from the law, but there are things at stake here. And anything that happens to these characters, you feel like, oh boy, there are some emotional beats there. So, the action is really, really well done, very well directed, very subtle, but very, very effective. And man, there's a lot of good things I can say about this movie, but I gotta say that I'm gonna give this film a 9.5 out of 10. It's a very, very good film. The only thing that I think could, in my opinion, could be improved, well, not really improved, but I just thought that there was a moment in the second act of the film which kind of was slow. It kind of slowed things down a bit. But it didn't hurt the movie overall. It was just a little bit slow, and but I really, really liked the film. And the other thing is that they have a very, very thick Texas, that accent, the southern accent is very, very strong. It's very thick. So there were times where I didn't understand what they were saying. I got the general idea of what they were saying, but I didn't know specifically what they were actually saying. And, you know, I guess that's my own fault for not really listening carefully, but that is something that is part of the authenticity of this film. Maybe they just need subtitles. But anyways, 9.5 out of 10. I really like this movie. And there you have it. That's all I gotta say. I highly recommend it. As always, if you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Body count. But they kept that at PG-13 for Dark Knight Returns. However, Batman the Killing Joke definitely has to have an R rating. And that is